Hey everybody, hope everything's going good for all of you. Just want to say all the work that I've been getting from you guys that you've been doing, pretty much everybody's doing a pretty good job. What you've been working on is real world stuff that hopefully you'll be able to use when you get out of here. And for the most part, you guys are doing a really good job. So keep up the good work, and we're going to keep moving forward. So we started out last week talking about the whole getting a job process. We started out with resumes, then went into applications, and then the interview process. We didn't dive too deep into any of those. We kind of just introduced them and gave a few pointers on how to be successful in those situations. So this week we're going to dive into each one of those a little bit deeper. And today we're going to start out with resumes. So the first part of a resume, and we didn't even cover this last week when we first introduced resumes, but cover letters or a letter of introduction. That is part of your resume. A lot of jobs do ask when you apply for them to include a cover letter or a letter of introduction. And also, letters of introduction are also used for scholarship applications and college applications and things like that. So let's get into cover letters. So what is a cover letter? Your cover letter is going to be your first, it's going to be your potential employer's first impression of you. And it can be the most important part of an application packet. It's going to be the first thing that the employer sees about you, and a well-written cover letter will entice the employer to read your resume. You get the employer hooked by pointing out your skills, what you can offer the company, and that entices him to read your resume. If it's a bad cover letter, they might not even waste your time looking at your resume. So it's important to have a well-written cover letter. And it's the same way for a college or scholarship application. A well-written letter, they're gonna consider you more. Poorly written letter, they might not even consider you for the scholarship or letting you into their college. So good letter is very important. So in a cover letter, you highlight the important skills, knowledge, and experience that you have. And it will indicate what you can contribute to the employer or the school that you're applying for. Effective cover letters need to convey a sense of purpose, and they need to project enthusiasm. So it needs to be enthusiastic, and it needs to have a very apparent purpose. So your purpose needs to be stated. So let's see, what does a cover letter look like? So if you take out your handout, it says cover letter guide, and it have a number 1 in the top right hand corner. Kind of looks like this. I don't know if you can see it. So let's take that out. We're going to go through that. Alright, so if you look at the left hand side, it says parts of a cover letter. So the first part you have there is a heading. So your heading is going to be the mailing address, the city, state, zip code, and today's date. Next part is going to be the inside address. That's going to be the employer's name, employer's job title, the business name, business address, all that. Then we get to your salutation. The salutation is Dear Mr., Mrs., and the name of the person that the letter is going to. So when writing your cover letter, you need to try to find out who will actually be reading your letter. So that way you can make it more personalized. So Dear Mr. and Mrs. Jones, Mr. or Mrs. Jones, whatever. If you're unable to find out the name of the employer or the person that's going to be reading your letter, you could put Dear Hiring Manager, something like that. You want to avoid putting to whom it may concern or anything like that. Next, after the salutation, that's when you're actually going to start your letter. You're going to start out with your introductory paragraph. And this introductory paragraph is basically you are telling why you're writing. So here they say, in response to the February 24th advertisement in the Bangor Daily News, I have enclosed my resume for the receptionist position. So very quick, short, and to the point. I'm writing in response to the advertisement that I saw. I have enclosed my resume. Very quick and to the point. All right, now we got our first main paragraph. In this first main paragraph, that's where you're going to describe your qualifications. You're going to try to sell your skills and knowledge, tell why you're interested in the company or the college, and point out any related experience you might have. So this person says, I have 2 years of prior work experience as a reception with XYZ Telecommunications. So that's right there. They're pointing out any related experience. Next, he says, my work has involved answering 10 incoming lines and greeting customers in a fast-paced office. I have also been responsible for all incoming and outgoing mail as well as purchase orders. I'm very detail-oriented and able to handle multiple tasks simultaneously. All right, so there, he's just pointing out a little bit of his experience, some of the responsibilities that he had in his past job. Next, you're going to go into the second main paragraph, and here you're going to continue to describe your qualifications. You're going to highlight any relevant training or classes that relate to the job or major for which you're applying. So this person says, I'm currently completing an associate degree in executive administrative assistant at Northern Maine Technical College. In completing this program, I have gained valuable experience in several computer programs, including Microsoft Word, Excel, and Access. So there she points out, he or she, I don't know if it's a guy or a girl, points out any related computer experience that she has. She talks about the class that she's currently taking. And our last sentence, she says, additionally, my training has provided me with the skills to reach my goal of office management. So again, here she's just saying how her training and how her experiences have prepared her for to get into this job that she's applying for. Then she's got her closing paragraph, and in the closing paragraph, you just want to thank the reader, and you want to request an interview. So this person says, I welcome the opportunity to discuss my qualifications with you in person. I can be reached at, she lists her phone number, and then thank you for your time and consideration. Then she's got her complimentary close, sincerely. Then you want to leave 4 spaces in between the complimentary close and where you put your name. And then if you have any enclosures that you're sending in, which you probably will, you'll be sending in your resume, you would type in enclosure down there. Typing in enclosure, that just indicates that you have enclosed other items such as your resume or your transcripts or anything else that you want the reader to see. All right, so that was just the basic parts of a cover letter and what's included in the basic parts. So to review, you got your heading, you got your inside address, you got your salutation, introductory paragraph, you got your first main paragraph, second main paragraph, and then a closing paragraph. All right, and if you flip the page, you'll have a sample cover letter there. We're just going to go over that real quick. All right, so at the top you see the heading. Then under that you got the inside address, and then you got the salutation. So they found out that the person that they were going to be writing is Miss Bailey. So, dear Miss Bailey, this letter is in reference to the paralegal position that was listed through the Central Maine Technical College's Career Center. So she is in this in this introductory paragraph, she's stating her purpose for writing this letter. Next paragraph, I'm eager to utilize my research and writing skills while working as a paralegal. So here she starts listing her qualifications, her experience, Let's go down to the next paragraph. I work well under pressure and deadlines, and I have been involved in many group projects. My work experiences have taught me that one must be prepared to work beyond the typical 40-hour week to achieve success. I am willing and able to do so for XYZ law offices. So she just continue in this paragraph to point out her skills, her work ethic. She points out her work ethic. Anything that's gonna kind of let the reader know that she would be a good fit for this job. All right, in her last paragraph, your consideration of my credentials would be greatly appreciated. I will call you next week to confirm your receipt of this letter and enclosed resume. Please feel free to contact me if you require any additional information to support my candidacy. Sincerely, Joseph Smith. All right. And then after that, you got another sample cover letter. I'll let you guys read over that. It's basically set up in the same format. And then I think there's one more. Yep, there is one more. That last one, that one's kind of set up in a different format, and that one's really more of a letter of introduction. This one would be one like this would be more for like a scholarship application or something like that. So we're focusing mainly on the cover letter one for job applications. All right, let's look at handout number 2. No, you know what? Skip that. We're not on number 2 yet. I'm just going to go over some cover letter tips and suggestions. So, first tip or suggestion, you want to always include a cover letter when mailing your resume. So anytime a job asks you to send in a resume, take time to come up with a good cover letter as well. Number 2, unless the advertisement specifies no phone calls, please, and the name is not given in the ad, try to find out the name of the person, like I said earlier, that's going to be reading your letter. That way you can make the letter more personalized. You can put their name, Dear Mr. or Mrs. Jones, or whatever their name is. Again, you want to avoid putting to whom it may concern. If you're unable to find out the name of the person that is going to be reading your letter, then you could put Dear Hiring Manager or something along those lines. But you do want to avoid putting to whom it may concern. You want to make sure that your letter is professional. It doesn't need to be too what's the word? You want to make it formal. You don't want to make it casual. So make sure it's professional. You also want to make sure that the letter is perfect. That means your spelling, your grammar, your punctuation. You want to make sure you have somebody proofread it before you send it out. If you got a lot of spelling errors or grammatical errors or anything like that, that's probably going to be a big turnoff for the person reading it. So make sure that the letter is perfect. The letter does need to be typed up on Microsoft Word or something like that. You want to make sure you use 1-inch margins on all 4 sides. All right, and remember in the opening paragraph, that's going to be you're telling the purpose of the letter. Why are you writing the letter? You want to use I statements and action verbs when describing your experience. So, if you're saying if you're telling your job experience, say you were a stocker at a grocery store. I was responsible for stocking the products back on the shelves. So using I and the action verb stocking. Let's see, where we at? You want to get straight to the point. These employers don't have time to be reading lengthy letters, so the letter needs to be short and to the point. Cover letter should never exceed 1 page. You You want to make sure you're focusing on the specific skills and interests you possess that you can offer the employer. Concentrate on the skills in which match the advertised employment qualifications or the desired program of study. You want to point out what you can do for the company or the college, not what the company or college can do for you. You want to make sure you sound upbeat and confident, and you're trying to sell yourself. That's the purpose of the letter. You don't want to mention salary expectations in the cover letter. And you want to end the letter by thanking the reader and stating that you look forward to meeting with them. You want to make a suggestion for the next step of the process and follow up as promised. So something like, thank you for your time and consideration. I will call next week to check up on the status of this position. All right, and some questions you want to ask yourself before mailing out the letter. Is the letter clear? Does it state exactly what I want it to state? So make sure it's clear. Make sure it's saying exactly what you want it to say. Is it concise? Concise means short. Is it concise? Does it state what I want it to say in the fewest possible words? Is it well organized? You want to make sure it's well organized. Am I projecting to the employer or college that the contribution that I can make? So you want to make sure that your letter is pointing out what you can do for the employer. Why should they hire you? What would they be getting out of hiring you? And last question you want to ask yourself is, have I stressed areas in my experience and or education that are relevant to the person reading it? So point out all your prior experience or education that is relevant to the job that you're applying for. Okay. Now let's move on to handout number 2. It should have a number 2 in the top right hand corner, and it looks like this. Everybody see that? All right, this is cover letter worksheet. This is going to be one of your assignments for today and tomorrow. So it is basically you have an example of a cover letter there, and it's got descriptions in the boxes of what each part of the cover letter is. And page 2 of handout number 2 has 10 questions on it. So you're going to use this one right here. You're going to use that to answer the 10 questions on the back. So just write in your answer underneath each question. All right, the next assignment that you have for today and tomorrow, you have a packet of sample cover letters. There should be a number 3 in the top right-hand corner. Looks like this. Actually, y'all's looks like this, and it says, bad cover letters. Circle all mistakes that you can find. All right, so you're going to go through each one of these cover letters. There should be 1, 2, 3, 4. Go through there and find every mistake that you can find. I want you to circle it. All right. So some things to remember while you're looking for mistakes. Be looking for spelling errors, grammatical errors, punctuation errors. Check out the salutation. It should be Dear Mr. or Mrs. or Dear Hiring Manager. It shouldn't be to whoever in charge. All right. What else? Make sure it's professional. It doesn't need to be casual. It doesn't need to be sounding like one of y'all's kites or looking like one of y'all's kites or what it sounds like when you're talking to your friends. All right. So if you see something like, I hope you're having a chill day, that's not something you want to say to a potential employer. What else? Just give y'all a couple little hints of what might be wrong in these. Let's see. yo, what up, Mr. Jones? None of that. So just go through there, find all the mistakes that you can find, circle them. That's assignment number 2 for today and tomorrow. And your third assignment, you will need a blank sheet of paper. You're going to start drafting your own cover letter. So I want you to think of a job that you would like to apply for. Or you can just make one up. It needs to be appropriate. And start drafting your cover letter. Use the samples that I've given you and start just drafting a cover letter. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I just want you to kind of get in the habit and get used to writing one, just so you'll kind of have some experience writing one whenever you get ready to do one for real. So, like I said, come up with a job that you would be interested in applying for, or you can just make one up. Make sure it's appropriate. Everything in your letter needs to be appropriate. And let's just practice writing a cover letter. Like I said, it's just a draft. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's just going to be for practice and experience writing one. Use the samples that I've given you and put some effort into this, because this is something that you guys will be able to use in the real world. So. And it could help you get employed. So, and that's what I would like to do. I'd like to help you guys get employed, and like to give you guys some stuff that you can actually use whenever you get out in the real world. So that's it for the day, guys. Like I said, you have the 3 assignments for today and tomorrow. You got the cover letter worksheet, activity 1, that with the 10 questions on the back. You got the bad samples that you're going to write or circle all the mistakes that you find. And then you're going to start drafting your own cover letter. All right, guys. Have a good day. And you will be hearing from me again on Wednesday. Bye.